Yeah, yeah. Go ahead and take the offering. And listen, return on investment for this weekend. I want to tell you businessmen, like, hey, I'm looking for ROI. Well, I got some ROI for you. You know, when you look at 12 to 14 buses full of teenagers who say, I'm going to give up my weekend to go learn more about what it means to be a Christ follower. So when I go back to my school and go back to my home, things can be different. Basketball players that gave up a game to come to TPW, I'm going to tell you, I ain't that godly. I mean, when I was their age, like I'm going to be playing because I got to light it up. And so the reality is this generation, man, is worthy of you investing in them. So if you're saying, well, I'm not sure, I believe whatever, you know, I don't know if I like that. Listen, the more you give, you say, I can't believe you're talking about money. But the more, listen, vision is only an idea unless there's generosity. I hate to whip that out on you. It's not in the notes. But the reality is when you give, this happens. We've had these ideas for a long time. I mean, we've been thinking about this for a long time, but we needed the right people and we needed the money because you know, when the thing is when you get buses, you get, you know, hey, I want 15 buses. They don't, and we're doing it for God. They don't go, oh, okay, why don't you take them? They say, hey, how much money you got, bro? I mean, when you feed 575 people 3 meals, 3 days, I mean, just the donut. You're about donuts for your family. Think about 575 people in your family buying donuts. These kids can consume donuts. They have the spiritual gift of eating donuts. So here's the thing. 20 years ago, Byron Malone had the concept. We went from Disciple Now, Paradigm Shift, to Turning Point Weekend. We were praying for 70. God bless, we had 80, okay? We went down to Kings Air Ranch. Everybody got sick with mold. And so, we kept going back, and now here we are 20 years later. 10 years ago, we came out to Lincoln Road. Now, let me ask you, where were you 10 years ago? How old were you 10 years ago? Now think about that. 10 years ago, think about that. 10 years ago, where were you? Now, I know where the LSU fans were, they were celebrating. That's the last time they beat Alabama. Don't stop it. You stop. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Thanks for all the texts and messages and putting stuff at my house. I appreciate that. The Lord sees you, He will get you. 10 years ago, yeah, that's right. About other things, I got to get back on track. 10 years ago, you know where I was? I was right here. I was right here for the first sermon out here, and we had hawked everything that we could possibly hawk to get out here because so many people had left our church, and good people, a lot of people gave a lot of money and they didn't go, but the reality was, man, we got out here and I was terrified. And a lady gave me a cross, sweet lady, still in our church, and it's one of those crosses that you can clasp with your hand. It fits in your hand like a fist. And she gave it to me, and it was the only thing that got me through that one sermon. We had one service, and we were hoping to fill it up one time. And I preached with my hand in my pocket, grasping that cross. And I preached out of Revelation 22:17, where the Spirit and the bride say, come. And let all of you who wishes come. Let all of you who are thirsty come. And I said, this is going to be a decade of invitations. And I said, I want you to invite people to come and see. Come and see. And listen, you did it, man. You are amazing. And invitations are powerful. I mean, you know that. If you've ever not been invited, that's when you know invitations are powerful. I don't know, like maybe your friends, like they all went somewhere and you saw it like on Instagram. You go, hey, why didn't you invite me? Is there something wrong with me? I mean, am I not good enough to be a part of that group? I mean, invitations are powerful. You know, if you've not been invited, you know that. And here's the thing that we realized, that in the first century, there was a group of people, and they were the church people. They were the Pharisees. And they didn't invite people to their parties. I mean, when they had a party, you wouldn't have wanted to go anyway, because when they came to their parties, you know what they did? They didn't have cool music, and they didn't have fun and do stuff like you did. They were like, hey, can you rhyme the books of the Bible? Can you name this tune in 30 seconds? I mean, it was all about the things you had to, can you wear the kind of robe we wear? I mean, it was all these things about the outside. It's about knowledge. And when Jesus came, you know what Jesus said? He goes, no. I'm going to invite everybody to my party. And when he came and he saw people that weren't being invited, I mean, people that nobody cared about, he said, hey, I'm going to invite you. Matter of fact, the synoptic gospels, I said that for some of the older people because they like that kind of stuff. Synoptic means see. Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they all had a synoptic experience where they saw Jesus say the same thing from different lenses. And Jesus said, I came to seek and to save those who are lost. He said, I didn't come for the healthy people. I came for the sick people. You know what he was really saying? Y'all sick, bruh? They ain't nobody out there that's not sick. Listen, Jesus didn't come to make the bad people good, okay? That's religion. Jesus came to take the dead people and make them alive. Yeah, and so I want you to get that because it dawned on me like we were taking a lot of time, we continue to share about the things that like the believers already believed. I like, do you believe that more? Do you believe that more? How big is your Bible? And the reality was we need to invite people who didn't know Jesus because that's what Jesus did. And guess what? You did that. In the last 10 years, and this is not bragging, keep this in here. Don't tweet this, text this, Facebook this, because I don't want other churches to think we're bragging. That's the reason I never say anything about our numbers. I never say anything about our baptisms. People malign us. They malign me. You're terrible. You're a terrible person. I'm not making this about me. I'm just saying when you begin to have a lot of people come to the Lord, they're like, well, you're doing something wrong. There's no way they could like the gospel. I mean, we've made it so nobody would like it. And then all of a sudden, we invite you, and you get saved, and you get changed. Over the last 10 years, we're now averaging over 3,400 people in worship, really over 4,000 with our children. 29, you don't have to clap because I'm about to throw down on you, so just hang on. The 29th fastest growing church in America. Don't share that with anybody. That's so embarrassing. You know, I mean, of all denominations, of all churches, anywhere in America, in all states, in all counties, you are the 29th fastest growing church. 8,200 at Easter. 3 campuses launched in 5 years, and we got out here, and 4 years later, we launched a campus. 2 years later, we launched a campus. 1 year later, we launched another campus. 1,600 people who were reclaimed and baptized. That's just the ones we have record of, because the first year, we were kind of in flux. 32 people have graduated from our lead team, and 1,000 people plus have been in recovery. And you're going like, wow, why don't we just lay down? I mean, let's do like Peter and James and John and just build a tabernacle and stay up here on the mountain because let's just come and see. And no, God says, no, for the next 10 years, guess what's going to happen? You're going to go and be. You've got this down about come and see. You've got this down with regard to inviting your friends. I mean, we have created environments where your friends, even if they don't like God, even if they don't believe the Bible, they can get great coffee and great music, and I'll tell one joke. I mean, no matter who they are, we're building a bridge to them so they can belong and then believe. And we're asking you to do something unique. We're asking you to go and be. Don't just come here and bring your friends with you. Do that. But there's more now. The next 10 years for us to be who God has called us to be, you're going to have to go and be. You say, what does it look like? Can you break it down? Yes, I can. You're going to be more like Uber than taxi. I'm sorry. You're going to be more like Uber than taxi. Anybody ever Ubered? Raise your hand. All the campuses online. Maybe in your den. Maybe at a bar. Raise your hand. Yeah, you've Ubered. Like you Ubered because you can't drive home. Yeah, you Ubered. And here's the thing about Uber. It started in 2009. And you know what the guy with Uber did? He decentralized transportation. What a great idea, man. He's going like, hey, you know, instead of standing in line for the taxi service, you ever taken a taxi? It is like the worst experience of your whole life. I mean, you're standing in line. The taxi drivers are kind of jacked up, you know, there. And the lady's going to go like, oh, next. What do you do with Uber? You go, bop, 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 and you're driving, bro. I mean, when I come out of the airport and I'm going like, I'm trying to like check the deal to make sure like they're going to be there the minute I walk out. And so I'm going to do the deal so I can jump in and go. And that's what we're doing with the church. Timmy Runke, he's the one that came up with this phrase. We're going to Uberize venture. It's no longer you come here, you get a medallion, you got to be trained, you got to know it all. No, if you got a car, start driving, bro. You start going, you start sharing, you start doing what God has called you to do. I hadn't been to seminary, neither had Jesus. You're going to be all right. Listen, it's not about going to seminary. It's not about being on staff. Wherever you go, there you are with the gospel. You go and you share. Listen to Jesus' last words in Matthew 28:19. He says, as you go, make disciples. As you go, make disciples. Now, this happens to be my spiritual gift, and I know it's not fair when I share these stories with you because you're going, I can never do that. We're going to develop a system where anybody can do this. But literally, the other day I was at a place, and I can't tell you where because you might deduce and figure out things because I'm trying to win these people to the Lord. And I was watching a guy, and I knew he was from like a Middle Eastern country, and I put it all together because I have this spidey sense of knowing things, and that he was a Muslim. And I love Muslims. And so he was talking, and so I walk over, and I simply said to him, hey, how are you? Where are you from? You know, he says, oh, well, I'm not from America. And I said, well, okay. And so we're talking, and, you know, and finally he goes, hey, I'm not kidding you. This is in 4 sentences later. He says, would you come to my home and eat dinner with my family? And I'm going, so we exchanged numbers. I'm going to the dude's house and eating dinner with his family. I had 3 sentences with him. It's Uber, baby. The taxis when you line up here and you get in line and you stand in line. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be here. I'm just saying, hey, we want to like you go and be, not just come and see. We want you to be wherever you are. Acts 1:8, you will be my witnesses when you go to Jerusalem and Judea and Samaria and the uttermost parts of the earth. You're Ubering, baby. God always calls us in. You're going to love this. He always calls you into TPW. He always calls you into worship to send you out. Why? Because the Bible is about the mission of God. The mission of God is not just for you to come to church. The mission of God is for you to change the world. You're either a mission of the church or you're a missionary. We're an outpost and not a fort. You know what they did? If you love history, you're going to love this. Because where they would put the cathedrals and the churches is they would put them inside the walls of the fort, and you had to keep the right people in and the bad people out. We're not a fort. We're a mission outpost. We go out to where people are. We find bars and broken down beer joints, and we find bowling alleys, and we turn them into an outpost, and we begin to go because we're not a cruise ship, we're a nuclear submarine. We're going where you are, baby, because you're driving. In those shark-infested waters at the lunchroom time when you're walking in, the most dangerous place in the world to be. It's at a high school cafeteria at lunch when you're walking in and you see all the different groups going, woo, whoa, you got the goss and the previous. I mean, you got all those things going on, and man, you're going to be rolling because the largest group of, the largest denomination in the world right now that's growing the fastest is the NONES, nuns. They say, I don't believe in anything. NONES, you want to know not the Baptists, not the Presbyterians, not the Catholics, not the Methodists. They're all going backwards. You know, the only group that is growing, it's the NONES. They're saying, you can Google it. I have no affiliation. I don't believe in anything. You're going, well, I'm okay because I'm in a Christian neighborhood. I drive a Christian car. I go to a Christian school. Do you know how crazy that logic is? That's like you going to New Orleans and saying, I bet everybody here's a saint. You going to Dallas and everybody says, a cowboy. Listen, those guys have never even seen a cow. You get what I'm talking about? It is more than that. It is so much more than that. Cultural Christianity is like the Hilton. But what we're doing with missional faith is like the VRBO. In the past, The way people were reached, and I'm not talking about everybody. There's a lot of people that love to go to church. It's like people love to go to wrestling. And so I'm not being critical. I mean, but the old model of reaching people because we're a post-Christian nation is a taxi service. It is taxi Christianity because it's not the way to reach them, because taxi Christianity is about events. Listen to me, TPW. I know you're sleepy. I know you're sleepy. TPW is not a silver bullet to all your problems. I mean, there's got to be more than that. Listen, for some of you, you've gone to church and you pow, 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 pow. That's not going to solve all your problems. That's not going to make you a Christian. Listen, taxi Christianity is like, I'm going to eat better. I'm going to be an Atkins Christian. I don't even want the meat. I don't want like eating carbs. I don't even need sugar. I just want some meat. Just feed me meat. I need to eat more. You need to get better sermons. You need to get better meat, a better cut of meat. No, that's taxi Christianity. You say, well, I'm going to earn my way. I'm going to do Christianity the old-fashioned way. I'm going to quid pro quo. I'm going to earn my way. No, that's religion. You can't. Your best days are like filthy rags. Entertainment. I always think this is fascinating when people say venture is just about entertainment. Listen, Christian entertainment is not this. This is like the real world, instruments. Entertainment, Christian entertainment is you feeling bad when you go to church. Christian entertainment is you having songs that you never hear anywhere else. Christian entertainment is you having to dress up. Christian entertainment is classical music. I mean, Christian entertainment is you got to check all the boxes. Listen, that's not Christianity, that's religion. We don't do Christian entertainment. We translate the gospel into music and words you can understand. Why? Because we have a heart for South Mississippi. We have a heart to reach people far from God. We have a heart to break into the lives of churched taxi people and say, you don't get it. You don't understand the freedom you have. You don't understand the power you have to go and be all that God has called you to be. Listen, the book of Acts was the book of action, not the book of Bible study. You say, are you against Bible study? Of course not. I'm for Bible study. But if you've got to know everything about the Bible before you can ever do anything, you're going to be dead. I don't know everything. I mean, I know a lot of stuff. And if you only look at South Mississippi, did you know the standard of living in South Mississippi is $1.12 compared to the other states in America? Oh, you can live here cheaper. Oh, listen, it's a hub city. We got all kind of hospitals. It's amazing. It's a great place. We got recreation. We got good schools. And we're near New Orleans. We can get in, not get shot, and get out. If you're from New Orleans, you agree with me. You can get to downtown Jackson over a period of days with construction and get out. Amen. Yeah, something like, amen. Been working on that thing, forever. Yeah, no, it's not about you just you enjoying everything around you. It's not about you being a consumer. It's about you sharing. It's about you getting involved. It's about you being a part of healing. Listen, God wants to use you to do new things in the Pine Belt and on the Gulf Coast and all around us. You're on mission to heal and restore our community. In the book of Acts, they Ubered the gospel from place to place. They VRBO'd from home to home. They shared space from business to business. Go and be. So how about church and state? How about church and state? I get tickled when y'all say that. I go, I don't think in my company will let me share the gospel, or, I can't do this in my school because, it's separation of church and state. That is ridiculous. In the first century, they had a guy named Church and State. His name was Nero. And when you shared the gospel, he would crucify you and light your body up on the edge of the roads in Rome so it would light Rome. Listen, if you share your faith, they're not going to do anything to you. You know why? They're too busy trying to impeach Trump. They won't even know you've done anything. Your boss, by the time he figures out you're sharing your faith, he'll probably get fired. By the time you get involved in sharing like this business luncheon thing we've got, you'll get a new job. Don't worry about church and state. They're not going to do anything to you. Listen, my dream is they'll come to me and say, because you're preaching the gospel, we got to put you in jail. That is my dream. That is my dream. Do you know what I would do to those people? I mean, you put me inside the jail, and like I'm locked in with all these lost people, and I'm going like, nah. That's why Paul had a jail ministry. I mean, they're like 4 guys chained to him every day. That's why, and when you look in their Praetorian Guard in Rome, they were all getting saved. You lock somebody with me for 4 hours, they come to know the Lord. Yeah. And it's the book of Acts. In Acts chapter 8, and I didn't take the time to read it, but something happens at the end of chapter 7 and chapter 8 where it says that Stephen was killed. And Saul was there giving his approval. And he said, well, who was Stephen? He's like, worked at Lowe's. They grabbed him up. He was sharing at Lowe's. And they said, you can't do that. And they took him from the people. And he said, yeah, it's about Jesus. And he shares the gospel. And all the church people killed him. And that just doesn't seem to read right to me. Like, here's the way I thought it should read. I don't know about you, but like Jesus died on the cross, and then he rose from the dead, and he came back, and he took names. I mean, when he came back and the Holy Spirit fell in the book of Acts, and all of a sudden, there were thousands that got saved, and they did. At the end, the end, it's over. And that's not the way it reads. In verse 4 of chapter 8, it says they were scattered because of persecution. Some of you have been scattered. Some of you have been scattered to other communities. Some of you are here because you're scattered from where you came from. Some of you are going to be scattered from here to go to other areas where we're trying to launch churches. And it says as they went, as they were scattered, as they were getting their oil changed, you know what they were doing? They were sharing good news of what God had done in their life. You know the result? Chapter 8, verse 8, there was joy that filled the cities. You want to see joy fill our cities? Do you want to see joy fill our community? Do you want to see things happen in your family for generations that you can't explain? You go and be. You go and share. You say, but I've done that and nobody listens to me. Listen, nobody listened to me for years. Some of them still aren't listening. I keep speaking. I keep sharing. Go and be. Craig Curtis, I love this. He said, this is where we are now. It's there you are, not here I am. Oh, that's deep. Craig Curtis. Oh, I'm here. I'm in church. I'm here. I'm with TPW. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I am here. I'm here. There you are. There you are, and I've got to reach you. I got to go and be. I got to do anything short of sin to make sure you know. You say, well, how do you do that? Can you shut this down? Because I'm sleepy. I'm tired. I get it. I was there Friday night to midnight. I still ain't recovered. You say, well, what do we do? Well, let me tell you how we're going to do this. And you're going to like, oh, my goodness. Because God is calling us to go and be in the next 10 years. And one of the things we got to do, I don't know if you look around in any of our areas, I don't know, is there a lot of... Is there, anybody see 5 seats open together? I don't see 5. I know what we could do. We could build a bigger building. Give them more money. I need $1 million today. Does anybody raise your hand? $1 million? $1 million? $1 million? Okay, well, it's coming. I know you're going to build up to that. Got to get you through school first. Yeah. Or we can go into January the 5th, and we can change the worship times and try to make the most of the facilities we have. By moving our times, we have labored over this, to 8:30, 10, and 11:30. I know some of you go, 10 o'clock, man, we can just make it and still have time. No. We need a lot of you going to 8:30. We need a lot of you going. I'm going to preach live at 8:30. And if you're not here, I'm going to preach mad at 10 and 11:30. You say, well, I don't want to go to 11:30. That's too late. Some of you ain't getting here to 11:30 now. I mean, some of you stroll in at 11:30 like, well, I made it. You'll be fine. Like, you'll get the whole thing. You go, I didn't know they sang. Jesus, take the wheel. They sing. So you'll be all right. So y'all stay right where you are. You'll be good. We'll still reach you, okay? And so, I'm sorry. Some of this is like my last Sunday. So 3 things we want you to do. One is we want you to select a time, preferably 8:30 or 11:30. And, it'd be a great, you can figure this out. I'm going to preach all 3 of them. I'm getting better shape. I'm working out, taking supplements. And so I'm going to preach all 3 of them, and they're all 3 going to be amazing. So select a time. Number 2, scoot over. I'm going to give you a word. Now, some of this is going to hurt some of your feelings because you like to get here early and sit on the end of the row at all of our, I don't know why this is, but you want to sit on the end of the row, and you're like this right here. If people have to get in, you're like, some people are going to go to hell because of your knees. I'm just telling you, God told me to tell you that. Some of you, because of your, like I'm willing to go to Africa and die, but I ain't scooting over. Come on, man. If you can't scoot over, go to the north venue, lay down. You can go in there and lay down and you can stretch out like they did in the first century. I'm not trying to be ugly, but like you say, well, I get claustrophobic. Well, guys, watch it out there in the atrium because we need to get more people in here because somebody has worked hard to get them here. And they put it off as long as they could. They got here late. They walk in late, and you're thinking, well, they should have gotten here on time. Well, they're going to hell, bro. They don't know they're supposed to be here on time. Y'all not listening to anything I'm saying? And then they finally get them in here and it's dark and they're going, I knew I shouldn't have come in here. It's like a nightclub. They say, I can't believe they got a guitar up there. And then they get in there and you're going like this right here. You don't get around that. See if you can get around that, get to Jesus. Get around that. Okay, I'll stop. I'm sorry. I apologize. And if you have a broken limb, I'm sorry. But get it healed and scoot over. Okay. And serve. Find a place to serve. And we're going to train you. We're going to train you how to go and be. Where, you can learn. We're going to have things on the web, and we're going to help you learn because we want to decentralize the gospel. Okay? You say, what does it look like? Let me give you the next 10 years real quick. I'm over. I got to do this quick. The next 10 years. Number 1, we're going to have 12,000 in attendance every weekend. You're just about numbers. Well, no, you know what? Yeah, I am. There's a book of the Bible called Numbers, too, by the way. Don't get smart with me. I can. But I'm sorry. I stayed up late Friday night. But these represent people. You said, you're just billing out numbers. You're just ministerially. No, that's 8 to 10% growth. That's if we don't grow any more than we're growing now. We'll have 12,000 every weekend. So if you want to talk about it later, I'm on a roll. I'd love to talk to you. 3,000 people will be baptized or more and reclaimed. We're going to do 5 additional campuses. You say, that's a lot. How can we do that? Well, we're going to do that together. One's going to be in an international campus because we need an international. Yeah, let's give a hand on that. Yeah. We're going to launch Venture College. Don't start asking me about accreditation. I'm working on that. I'm going to figure that out. We're going to take LEAD to a whole nother level, okay? We had 32 people go through LEAD. We're going to another level. We'd love to work with other colleges. If they don't want to work with us, we'll do it ourselves. Okay, we're going to be debt-free in 10 years. Yeah. I sold a kidney to get out here. I mean, you don't believe how much money we had to borrow to get out here because we had no money. And in 10 years, we're going to be debt-free. And also, we're going to launch a team teaching model. Let me tell you, I do about 75% of the teaching. Go, no, you're not. You missed last week. Well, I know, but here's the thing. I don't know if you know this. I know I don't look it, but I've gotten a little bit older. And what I'm trying to do is kind of move that from 75%. I know, and I don't feel old, except for this arm. But I'm trying to move it over the next 3 or 4 years from 75%. I've preached over 1,200 sermons. People say they're about 100 of them are good. Yeah, you can give me a hand. Yeah. And you know what I watched? I went back and looked at the ones I preached early on. I'm sorry. But here's the thing: you have to grow with it. You have to get on. You have to get in the game. And so in 4 or 5 years, 3 or 4 years, we're going to go to 50-50. I'm going to have we have great teachers, that can bring the gospel. Man, they are so good, and we're going to get them up here so that they're preaching. And then all of a sudden, over the next 5 to 7 years, I'm going to do about 20%. Kind of pour into the new initiatives that I'm talking about and serve you in different ways. So that's how it's working. That's how it's rolling. Now you say, well, is it that big a deal? It's just church. It's not Little League. Well, let me show you what it looks like without venture. I want you to see this. Let me ask you a question. If you've been baptized, this is at all of our campuses. We're all together right now at all of our campuses, online. If you were baptized since you came to Venture, would you turn the light on your phone on if you have your phone with you? I want you to keep it up for a second. If you've been invited to Venture by someone and you started coming here, maybe you'd given up on church, would you turn your phone on? I'm going to tell you a little secret. We're just getting started.
I want to thank you so much for bearing with me as I try to share with you my heart as to what God has been saying to me about this fellowship. We've got to decide together what is our vision. And I'm asking you tonight as your friend to sacrifice whatever agenda you may have that meets your own personal needs so that we can accomplish the vision for this church. What was Jesus Christ's vision for His ministry? Why did Jesus Christ come? He ought to be our model. What is our vision? Reach people, disciple people, minister to people. That's our objective. That's our vision, to reach people. Jesus Christ said, "Go. I came to seek and to save those who are lost. It's not my will that any should perish, but that everybody should have eternal life." Let's stay with the vision. Don't you understand that the sky is the limit as to what God can do through you? That we have a window of opportunity we may never have again to go for it. To live with a little reckless abandonment and to make it happen. You'll never get to the end zone if you don't get out of the comfort zone. And I'm asking you to try that. We have a window of opportunity we may never have again. You see, the changes that we make and the dreams that we follow to reach people and disciple people and minister to people won't affect you that much. But it'll affect them a lot. I'm always going to challenge you. And I'm always going to be pushing the envelope just a little bit. And I'm always going to be begging you to dream a bigger dream. And I'm always going to be thinking about what we could leave for our children. And I'm always going to be thinking what we can build for our grandchildren. I think it would be a sin against holy God for us just to settle down and say, let's do it the way we've always done it. Can't do that. Can't do it.